All right, it's time to check in with our media partners from voiceofoc.org for an update on what's happening this week in Orange County government and politics.
Here to talk about issues in the news right now, we welcome the editor-in-chief of Voice of OC, Norberto Santana. Hello, Norberto.
Thanks, Adin. The battle for the future of San Onofre's nuclear power station has finally had some certainty after nearly a year of federal investigations, activist allegations, and charges to ratepayers after the steam generator tube started leaking radiation, prompting a shutdown. Now it's over. Southern California Edison this week announced that because of the uncertainty, they're moving on and will have gas-powered plants make up the difference in Southern California. While anti-nuclear activists are cheering and a 50-year shutdown process now begins, the question now is what happens to those investigations? A charge that Southern California Edison knew the risks it was taking. It's an allegation that the company disputes. And now who pays, the ratepayers or the company? Stay tuned on this one as it plays out. In other news, Supervisor John Moorlach, once touted as a potential GOP gubernatorial candidate against Governor Jerry Brown next year, has pulled out of the running after looking at what the GOP infrastructure and prospects look like at the state level.
It would just be a very difficult drill without maybe the results that you'd want. Yes, you get to debate pensions, you get to debate all the other fun topics that I've been working on for a dozen years, but is that really worth it to my family? And so we're just letting go.
So how does the state's Republican Party come back? It may not be by adjusting their views on social issues like immigration or abortion. Moorlach thinks they just have to wait for Democrats to overplay their hand and keep expanding government payrolls and benefits until taxpayers revolt. Yet while Republicans talk a great game on spending cuts, guess what happened when Moorlach himself, who's been criticized for the size of his own pension, asked his colleagues to take a 5% cut this week to their own office budgets? They said no, even while asking every other department, including the sheriff and the district attorney, to take a haircut.
Representative of these positions should be a caretaker. I don't think we should have a babysitter there. If that's the case, then, if that's the argument, then Rene Ramirez.
Supervisor Morlock.
I'm just wondering, Mr. Chair, if we're going to consider a 5% reduction like everyone else.
Supervisor Morlock, you are in favor. I am in favor.
I think doing it across the board, though, would not necessarily take into consideration various districts and how they deal with constituents and the the amount of work they have, et cetera, et cetera. I just think that I'd rather leave it voluntary. I'd plan to do it voluntary. I just don't want to mandate it.
You hire more people, less people, send more mail, less mail, have better looking furniture, whatever. But our budgets should be the same, and I appreciate that there are people that disagree. I just don't believe it's valid.
I agree with Supervisor Spitzer. I think that each of us already do give back money annually in one form or another, and so I think that we should continue to go forward.
I'm opposed.
I'm opposed.
All right, passes 3-2. There'll be no cuts in the budget.
This week, we also got a glimpse into the huge responsibilities that public agencies like school districts weigh when it comes to balancing budgets, with a huge gas explosion at Valley High School in Santa Ana. According to the sources that we interviewed, teachers and students have been complaining about gas smells in a local gym long before the explosion that rocked the campus this week. At first, officials thought it was a boiler that blew up. Yet as the district officials and the Orange County Fire Authority investigate, they're now saying that the boiler is intact. We had reporters out at the scene this week reviewing maintenance records for the past few years and battling official for a host of other records. Here's what we know so far. District records of inspections by the state and the county showed no problems with that boiler room. However, the latest inspection was nearly a year ago, on July 1st of 2012. Officials insist that there have been no formal complaints, and they also say they have no deferred maintenance issues. But a review of their budget records shows that the area has suffered funding cuts in recent years, going from $7.1 million in annual spending back in 2009 all the way down to $2 million this last fiscal year. We'll stay on top of this story, and we'll let you know what we find out after we keep reviewing records and interviewing sources. And in Anaheim, the raging dispute there continues this week over allegations that the city's electoral system is racist because its at-large voting system for city council seats makes it impossible for Latinos to get elected. While activists and others like the ACLU have filed a lawsuit against the city, leaders appointed a controversial commission last year to do what government leaders always do best, study the issue. Yet this week, when the panel suggested that the city put the issue to a popular vote, guess what? They ignored it. Instead, they voted 4-1 with Mayor Tom Tate dissenting to instead change the city charter to provide a ward system where council members would be forced to live in the districts they represent but would still be voted in through citywide tallies. The ACLU lawsuit remains, and the city so far has spent about $500,000 on it, with Tate saying that they're going to likely lose. It's another one we'll keep an eye on.
Roberta, we thank you very much. And before we go, we want to congratulate you on your Lifetime Achievement Award from the California Chicano News Media Association. Big award. You're still young. The award was not only for your long career as an investigative journalist, but for the co-founding of the Voice of OC. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, Norberto. For more on the stories that you saw Norberto discussing and other political news throughout Orange County, log on to voiceofoc.org.